FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino announced yesterday that the FBI is investigating this targeted violence against religious groups in Seattle. This is a big change. What we're seeing here is under the Biden administration, people of faith were being prosecuted. Now their rights are being protected. This is a shift, and it's coming from the Department of Justice. Here to talk about this is Congressman Mark Harris of North Carolina. He serves on 3 House committees, including the Judiciary Committee, where this has been a topic of focus. Congressman Harris, welcome back to Washington Watch. Thanks for joining us.
Tony, thank you. It's great to be with you this afternoon.
I mean, this is a sea change we're talking about, where we have the Department of Justice no longer prosecuting Christians, but actually protecting their rights.
Well, actually, you're correct. And I think it should be a sigh of relief among believers across this country that justice is returning to the United States. Listen, this is a mess. I mean, when you have parents that are simply willing to stand up, holding a rally to say, don't mess with our kids, people have had enough. But then, thank God, the police were there protecting them in the midst of this rally, so that when the other side shows up and turns it completely violent, 23 people were arrested from what I understand. And yet I'm so grateful that you got a Justice Department and an FBI Deputy Director and Dan Bongino, who is saying we are going to investigate this activity that is really targeting and becoming an anti-Christian movement.
Well, we also, and your committee has been a part of this, the FBI also announcing that it's reopening some investigations from the Biden era, including cocaine in the White House that was found, the Dobbs decision leak. What does this tell us about the Trump Department of Justice as they're reopening these cases? What might they find?
Well, I think as they get into it, they're going to let the facts lead the investigation. All too often, it seemed like our Justice Department had become nothing more than just an institution involved in lawfare. Now you have an institution where the Justice Department is going to truly investigate things that need to be investigated and let the facts lead that investigation, not just targeting one particular side or the other. And I think these are important things. Looking at just even the pipe bomb that was placed on January 5th of 2021 and outside the DNC and the RNC, as well as the other 2 that you mentioned with the cocaine found there in the White House. All of these are things that Americans would like to get to the bottom of it, and let's get some answers. And that's what this Justice Department seems to be focused on.
You know, this is different than the first Trump administration that just kind of moved on, didn't look back. You know, you had Hillary Clinton and her bathroom server. People were saying, hey, why doesn't the Trump administration investigate that? They just kind of moved on. They're not doing that this time. They're going back to see where the law was violated and if prosecution is appropriate. What role is Congress? I mean, you serve on the Judiciary Committee. You have oversight of the Department of Justice. What role is Congress playing in this?
Well, I think we're going to be following these things that the FBI is announcing, that the Justice Department is announcing, things that they're going to be looking into. And I would expect that we'll be hearing about some hearings that our Judiciary Committee will be holding, bringing some people in, asking some questions. One of the things that we said early on that we wanted to do with the new administration was allow some of these new cabinet members, once they've gotten into place, to be able to come and let us know what they have found. And I think that that's going to be important as these days go on for us to begin to really just uncover what's been going on in that previous administration.
Mark, you also serve on the Education Committee, and a lot of stuff happening at the state level when it comes to education. Just yesterday, Texas becoming the 2nd or 3rd state. I think Arkansas also has passed a provision that allows for the 10 Commandments to be posted in the classrooms. You know, while there's a lot of focus at the national level, we're seeing some, I think, very significant changes that are taking place and being advanced at the state level.
Well, and I think that's important, Tony. And I think this White House and I think this Congress really and truly are on the same page in wanting to allow our states to continue to be empowered to do what they are led to do. And I think that what we're going to be doing at the federal level is continuing to give them that ability. And I think that we're going to stand strong behind it. And so I think it's as you said, even when we started in this particular segment, that there is a sea change that's taken place in Washington. And that's another great example, empowering the states to be able to do what they need to do.
And while we celebrate the policies that are coming out of Washington, of course, many of them executive orders, although hopeful that we're going to see many of them codified in the one big beautiful bill, because that rolls in a lot. But what we're seeing at the state level, and I just hope people grab this, we're going to talk about this a little bit later when we have Jason Rapert on, but the change at the state level, it's more of a coming to fruition of what's been happening at the states for many, many years, and it runs much deeper and less likely to change in 4 years as opposed to what we see at the federal level.
Agreed, because what you have happening at the state level, we really believe that government that is closest to home is the most effective government. And I think that when people are having their state legislators that they live next door to, that they interact with at church, at the grocery store, at the gas station, wherever life leads them, I believe you're going to have leaders there that are stepping up to the plate. They're seeing the change that is happening. And instead of having the federal government step in and put a thumb on them, we're going to allow these states to continue to function and continue to work effectively.
All right, Congressman Mark Harris, final question for you. You have been a pastor for almost 3 decades, still serve as a pastor. What's more challenging, working with Congress or a business meeting at church?
Boy, that's a hard question to answer. I think in both cases, you're still herding cats. And no doubt that it's a challenge in Congress, but I find both of them to be very fulfilling in the work that I'm blessed to be a part of.
Well, we're proud of you and grateful for you being there in Congress and the work that you've done for many years, and the Lord's hand clearly upon you. Thanks so much for joining us today, Mark.
Thank you for all you do, Tony. Keep it up.